I've followed Michael Bakey and his dogs Glenn and Shredder on Facebook for many years. He used to have 3 dogs, but unfortunately Rosie, being elderly, died not so long ago. Bless her, she died in his arms with a stroke or a heart attack. But these 2 are left and they just have so much fun. And if you watch them with the frisbee, you'll see always that Shredder leaves the frisbee and gives it to Glenn to take back to Michael. And that happens every single time. You too can follow these beautiful dogs with their master. Find them on Facebook under Orkney Past and Present. Both dogs absolutely love the camera, and Michael poses them when they're out for their walks, wherever they might be. And it's always makes for a fantastic photograph. Do have a look. I think you'll find that they're well worth looking at.
I know, shush, don't say anything because it'll go in.
Whilst the band were playing, we noticed the Geyser Jarl and the Jarl squad from Shetland. Each year there's a big ceremony, it's called Up Heli R, and these guys get together, they make their own costumes and they have to design their own suits and make them. Every year they're different. They also build a Viking boat, and on Up Heli R they take it through the streets with a torchlight procession with all the lights out, and then they walk it to the main green and they set fire to it. It's a really big ceremony. In some parts of Scotland, where they also celebrate Up Heliar in February, they will actually push the boats out onto the water and set fire to them at sea. It's an amazing sight to see. The riding of the marches is a traditional event, and it celebrates the town's royal charter granted by King James III of Scots in the 15th century. The event takes place on the second Sunday of August and involves riders on horses, ponies, carriages, and they travel through the streets of Kirkwall in a procession to mark the town's old boundaries. The route is circular, and here you can see them arriving at Scapa Beach, where the standard is taken away from the lead rider so that they can all have refreshments, something to eat, and a stirrup cup, something to drink. They'll rest the horses and then they set off and they walk the boundaries right at the sea's edge. And that's the exciting bit as you watch them wade through the water and hear the whooshing. It's 9:20 and we're out here just to look at the sunset and to take some photographs. And you have to admit that that is quite stunning. So as we come round, we're looking at St Mary's, also known as Ham, spelt Holm, H-O-L-M. And this here that you're looking at is not the loch that was all brightly coloured, but this is Scapa Flow. And directly opposite you, where you can see maybe some little headlights travelling, this is one of the Churchill barriers, built originally to stop the German submarines for getting into the Scapa Flow. We're being eaten alive by bugs at the moment as we stand here. I've got Caroline with me. Would you stop scratching for a minute just to say hi?
Hello. Don't want me.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. Okay. Hi.
And look at that sunset behind her. Isn't that just stunning? Been out here for the last 20 minutes or so, just watching it. Look at the light on the water. Magic. hold it and it will take away the jog. You don't need to worry about that. It's just video going across the barriers. Our next adventure took us to Happy Valley, and this is one of Orkney's hidden gems. It's hidden in Stenness, and it was created by one man called Edwin Harold, and he spent most of his life planting trees along the side of the burn next to his house. If you look around, you'll see in the gardens next to the house the fruit bushes, there's blackcurrant and there's gooseberry and all the flowers and plants that he had planted, a formal garden. But in the valley itself you can find monkey puzzle trees and specialised oak trees. It's beautiful. He actually planted 700 trees. After he died in 2005, the Friends of Happy Valley was formed, and it looks after the whole plot, and it's now been declared a nature reserve. It's beautiful. On our way home that day, we stopped as usual to take photographs, and you're seeing Hoy here. The weather was building over the island, and you can see the beautiful crepuscular rays as they hit the water. But then that storm head grew and grew as we watched, and finally it just hit in a deluge of rain, and we sat there and watched the whole thing in the car. It was so exciting. Our trip to the Broch of Gurness was windy, to say the least. Gurness boasts a fabulous example of a wave-cut platform. You can see it here. Absolutely incredible the way the rocks have been cut. We had to wait for low tide because our original plan had been to walk across the causeway and up to the island and therefore on to visit the lighthouse. But to be honest with you, it was so windy and so slippery, I wasn't brave enough for the job. I'm sorry, I just wasn't brave enough. In the summer season, the puffins will be breeding on this island and it's a good place to see them. But given that they nest in holes in the ground, I think that probably the poor little devils, if they'd still been there, would have been tucked up sensibly indoors. This picture shows us how a broch would have looked, and it was probably built somewhere between 500 and 200 BC by the chieftain of the community, and with its massively thick walls it would also have been a defence refuge. And as time went on, the village grew up around it, around the ditches, and I'd like to invite you to come with me into the Broch of Gurness and let's have a look round. Let's start here, right at the entrance, and this funny little cubby hole was probably somewhere for animals to be kept. Guard dog maybe? You're looking at the main entrance, so we will just see all the lichens on the walls and imagine how impressive this might have looked. And as we go through, we have to duck. People are a lot shorter then. Quite surprising. A lot shorter. So we've got to duck as we go through and we walk in. One wall would have been straight, nice and straight, and then the outer wall would have been leaning inwards. So you've got this conical shape. And either side, we can see that there's a tunnel through, right through between the two walls. And again, note how short people would have been from the height of the lintels. And as we come in, we're looking at little individual cubby holes and rooms. And here you can see the stairway that would have gone up inside the broch to upper floors, upper stories. And you think all of this rock was hewn? Probably using rocks and very basic metal tools. Hard work. You're looking in here. They had, oh, look at the trough. You see the trough there? And that's all been hollowed out, and that would have been to store water. Not sure whether it was for household use, or maybe it was for something that was ritualistic. Over here, you're looking at the grating over the well. See it here? So this is where the water would have come from. And we're just looking at that and investigating that. And then in the centre of the broch, right in the middle here, this is the hearth. So here you would have had cooking, heating, big fire right there to heat the whole of the dwelling. This is interesting. This is another trough, and this features quite heavily in the whole village. They built troughs, they clay lined them, and they were for storing water as well. Drinking water, washing water. Not that I guess there was much washing going on. And you're looking now at the partitions that were rooms, but that is drainage. That channel there is drainage because they'd worked out that the site was very close to the water table and they had issues with water and runoff indeed from the roof. Another little room, and it's very interesting that you've got cubby holes. They used to have cupboards, used to build cupboards into the stone, and they had some of these buildings actually had like dressers where they would display goods and special artifacts. More stairs. A quernstone, the round stone that you just saw there. This is for milling wheat to make flour for bread. Another drainage channel. Huge, great big stones in some places. You can't begin to imagine the weight, can you? Must have weighed a ton.
I'm videoing you. Do you want to wave for the camera? And then if I look up here, I'm inside a cairn. It's not tall enough to stand up, but we're both lying down and we can see the ceiling and all the little chips. That was all made with stone, hitting stone by a Neolithic man. Looking at the roof, coming down, and outside to Caroline. Wave to the camera, Kathy. Idiots inside.
We found this little wood, originally started by a chap called Olaf, and it was just this unusual collection of trees along a small valley with a river, a little stream running through it, and lots of different walks, all named after people, but it had some super specimen trees. things that we'd never seen before. We had to look them up. There was a whole area of fir trees, tightly packed, and that was called the maze. It looks quite bright here, but in reality it was dull and dour, and we had to creep through it in some places. Quite spooky. But the noise they made as the wind blew through them, it's one of my favourite sounds. Good way to spend a Sunday morning, that's for sure. Our final day out on the point was indeed very blustery once again, talking about gusts of up to 30, 35. It was beautiful, however, to watch the water and to see the way it acted and interacted with the wind, and we were just fascinated with it, the whole thing. But standing upright was really tricky. I was glad for the stability of my camera, it sorts all that out. But there was no way I was going to walk right up onto the point with Caroline and David. You'll see them in a minute. I was quite happy just standing where I was, leaning into the wind as I took my pictures.